close to getting it. They're just like this. William and Cal and Calvin, they're all working on that. So because we're now a 501c3, we're going to be setting that up. Woo! You can clap that. Okay. So I'm going to do this a little bit in reverse. I'm going to talk a little bit about the general announcements because sometimes we just forget to do that at the end. And then I'm going to throw it over to Dom. So we are looking for building reps and floor captains. That's super important in getting the word out to everybody. So if you're interested to talk to us about it, it's not really a heavy lift. You work closely with the core team and, help put up flyers here and there and just let us know what's going on in your building. Also, there are a lot of different civic meetings of interest that you may be interested in joining to get some information about the community. And also it helps us get in front of our community council, basically, as well as the NYPD 32nd Precinct Community Council meeting. Joe, do you want to say anything about that? Joe is kind of our liaison.
I've been attending that community council meeting for going on 2 years now. It basically, the police come and they tell you everything that they've been doing for the last 30 days. It's very informative. And then they take questions. They try to help you. They try to connect you with any organizations that you might need their help from. It's a great place to be. As a result of me attending, they sent me to police training. And they offer this for 2 people at each precinct area twice a year to go and take police boot camp, basically. So you understand more about what the police do and why they do what they do. And it's really helpful because then I can come out and disseminate that information to you guys. So if you're interested in that, I highly recommend attending that meeting that happens the 4th Thursday of every month. So we have one coming up.
Awesome. Thank you, Joe. And then on the bottom here, keep this agenda. We try to update this like every month, but as we get new information of Fairstead employees, we add it to this. Okay. So if you need to email them and that sort of thing. So with that, we're going to start our updates and I'm going to turn this over to Dom from Met Council. Thank you.
Hi. Hello, everyone. Hello, my name is Dominique. I am a tenant organizer with the Metropolitan Council on Housing. I'm very honored to have been working with your core team for the past 1.5 years now. We've been slowly door knocking through 30 recently. I'm glad to see some people here tonight. I just want to give a shout out to the couple of Savoy tenants that were over at the Manhattan Rent Guidelines Board hearing, giving testimony today. I actually rushed over here straight from that, so I wasn't able to stay for the end, but it was getting pretty spicy. Unfortunately, there is still an increase, but I just want to encourage everyone. I know early voting has just started. Please get out there and vote for someone who is going to freeze our rent because you all deserve it as stabilized tenants. So thank you very much regarding that. 3 quick things I want to just let folks know about Met Council on Housing. But the first thing we do is that we help form tenant associations. So the Metropolitan Council on Housing is actually New York City's oldest tenant union with history stretching back to the 1950s. And that's basically what I do. I go around and I try to help folks that are dealing with bad issues in their buildings start tenant associations to push back. The second thing we do, which is a little more pertinent to you all, is that we also have what's called a free tenants' rights hotline. So if you have any questions about your lease, about your rights as a tenant, about anything that your landlord is sending you, telling you, you can always call our hotline. It's on the back of my sweater right here, but you can also go online to the Metropolitan Council on Housing.org, and you can find our hotline. It's open multiple times throughout the week. It is staffed by volunteers. They're not necessarily housing lawyers, but many of them have been through the ringer, and many of them know a great deal, so they can help point you in the right direction, even if they don't know the answer. And then the third thing that we do is that we have these what are called free tenant clinics. Now, if you have a bunch of paperwork, if you have sort of like a huge stack of paperwork that you got sent by DHCR, the Department of Homes and Community Renewal, or HPD, the City Housing Preservation and Development, and you don't know how to make sense of it, you can always bring it again by volunteers, but more often they're staffed by people who are training to become tenant lawyers, or they're paralegals at a tenant firm or some such similar position. So they can help you go through these. These happen twice a month. One uptown, it's pretty far for y'all. It's up in Inwood, and then one downtown at Trinity. So all these things you can find out by going to our website. I want to thank you all for coming out tonight, and thank you so much for being here.
Okay, and I think as a group, what we decided for this particular meeting, maybe it'll be a shorter meeting, but we're just gonna do a little bit more of an update from last month. Okay, oh, that's okay. All right. Last month was very interesting because, as you know, we have a lot of actions going on. So the group here, with different tenant advocacy groups and different legal groups, actually. And we had talked to a number of tenants, and it was starting to feel like it's a lot of bit of alphabet soup. Like, it's like, wait, what's going on? Who's doing this? Who's doing what? So if you're on, I hope all of you are on our email. If you're on our email, earlier this month, I sent a kind of a comprehensive list of who the players are and what you should do next. There have been some updates since that email came, and I will be sending that out hopefully by the end of the week, if not early next week. Okay. Thank you. I talked my hand, so it does have to go out like this. I'm sorry about that. I'm gonna kind of no, I'll start with action one. It's okay. So last summer and early fall, we filed for a building-wide rent reduction. And how many here were part of that? Okay, okay. And are most of you in this building that are present here? No, okay. So we do know that depends on which legal team you worked with. Afterwards, I have this is basically the email that I sent out on the 6th, okay, with some updates. You can pick up a copy, but this will also be going out in the email, okay? But that was, you were either working with Take Root Justice legal team, or you're working with NEMIC, okay? So far, we have been granted a reduction in building 630, which was working with Take Root Justice, and 620 has been granted one. Now, we don't have any control, nor do the legal teams have any control. A building-wide rent reduction, we are dealing with the state. It's DHCR, the state, not the city, because we do have actions going on with the city right now. I'll get to that. Right now, we're dealing with the state. And so we're just waiting on the other buildings here. On here, you will see the docket numbers. There's also a website, okay? And if you get this in the email, that'll be a live link, and you can go to it and you plug in your docket number and you can see what the status is, okay? Now, there's a lot of things that have to happen once you're granted the reduction, assuming you're granted the reduction, okay? The first thing I would do, it's a little confusing to figure out how much your rent is going to be rolled back, okay? I would highly suggest not doing it on your own. Make an appointment down on 125th at DHCR, okay? Free, it takes maybe 20 minutes, 15, 20 minutes. You need your current lease, your previous lease, and then the previous lease before that. Okay, so you're going to bring 3 leases for them. And they're going to figure out, based on the effective date, I hope I'm saying that right, the effective date and the order date, 2 things. One, what your new rent will be until they fix everything on the list that we're asking them to fix, okay? Once they fix all that, it goes back up to the current rent for those that, okay? The second thing is, because usually the effective date is months earlier. So between that effective date and the time that the order was given and said, okay, all that kind of overpayment, you're due back. Yeah. So definitely it's worth talking to them. That's okay. Yep. And what to bring and everything. And it'll also come to you in your email. Check your email. And there's live links on the email. That's what the benefit is. We don't have, well, I'm sure we have enough for everybody here actually tonight. So that's number one. And it's, believe me, I went down there. It's well worth your while to do it. Number two, let's say you ask them because the intercoms are not fixed, your common areas are dirty, and there are problems in your, I don't know, the washers don't work, let's just say. I'm making it up right now, whatever it is. Let's say the inspector came and said, well, we inspected and we see that the intercoms are working and the washers are working, but yeah, it's still dirty. So we're going to grant you the reduction. They have to fix all three before the rent goes back up. Okay. Let's say we don't agree with that the intercoms are fixed, because most of us, that perimeter gate is definitely not working, right? And a lot of people, their intercoms are not working, right? So let's say the inspector claims that everything's fixed. Let's say you want to appeal that and say, hey, inspector, we don't agree with it, and state we don't agree with what it said. You have to file as the people that signed onto it what they call a PAR, P-A-R. That's an appeal. That has to be done within 35 days of that letter that came that granted it. So it's kind of a, Tasha can back me up, it's kind of a like a, you got to quickly get on it if you want to. You also probably will have to sign a new retainer with the legal team, but we'll get it done if that's what you want to do. Okay. So that's something as a group, each building has to decide whether they want to do or not. Okay. Oh, what a cute puppy. Is there, I mean, there's a little bit more detail that you can find in this handout, but are there any general questions about this action one right now that I could answer? That, and if I don't know the answer, I'll find it. Yeah. Uh-huh. Okay. No, I hear that. And you're not the only person that this is happening to. So we have to, my suggestion is, have you been down to DHCR to confirm anything? Okay. Okay. So she knew. Okay. I would definitely talk to NEMIC, because your building was NEMIC, number one, and tell them what's going on, because you're not the first person that said that they're adding these late fees to the ledger, and it just keeps building and building and building. I'm not a lawyer, so I don't want to speak out of turn here, but I feel like you're within your right to take that deduction, and they should not. Yeah. 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 And by the way, so the question was that the landlords are they're assessing a late fee because of she's paying her rightful reduced rent. I will say this, we got to get those off there so that they were supposed to, they had 35 days to do. Right. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. She's concerned about the late payments on her ledger. It's concerning. It's upsetting when you get that statement. I totally get it. Um, what was it? You were going to say something, Pam? Yes. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So the answer to the question, Pam wanted to know, what does DHCR do in this case when they're assessing the late fees on here? The answer is I do not know, but we are pushing it because this just came to our attention within the last 2 weeks that this is happening to some tenants. So we're in the beginning stages of like trying to figure out getting it. Yeah, we need to talk to our legal teams. Dom, do you have any insight? Yeah.
Like, again, I'm not a lawyer myself, so this is all just anecdotal from other tenants that I've spoken with and worked with in other buildings, not even in Savoy, but in other buildings as well. There is nothing stopping your landlord from lying to you. Unfortunately, there's nothing stopping your landlord from knowing the facts that you're entitled to this rent reduction and just gaslighting you and saying that you don't have it. Some tenants hold to their guns and let the late fees add up. They walk into housing court, they show their rent reduction, and then the case gets thrown out from a non-payment case when it gets brought to them. Other tenants don't want to deal with that, and so they fold and they just pay what landlord's telling them to pay. Beyond those two courses that you have as a personal tenant, as a group, we can do some things as well. We can write a petition to DHCR and saying that we're being harassed with false charges. We can also organize the Attorney General's office, as other buildings do, and asking them to send a to Fairstead for harassing tenants with these false charges. So there are some steps that you all have to talk amongst yourselves to decide what to do as a group. But as a personal tenant, if you're being gaslit in this way, those are your two main avenues. So I hope that sheds a little light on some of the talks that you're going to have in the future. Yeah.
So, this tenant, what's your name? Rachel. Yeah, it's okay. Rachel's giving us a ton of great information tonight. We do love participation. Yes. So Rachel's telling us that online at the DHCR website, there is a form. If you kind of search for it, there's a form that you can report them that they are violating. She's looking it up. So while she's looking it up, yeah. So stay tuned. We just found out that a lot of people are getting this extra charge. So we're going to keep you informed. Okay. Hold on.
To follow up on that, I just want to tell you, you cannot, your question was, I don't want to be evicted for not paying those fees. I just sat in on a housing court course today, right before I came here, and they said positively 100%, you cannot be evicted for not paying those fees. I know this for a fact, so I just want to appease your nerves there a little bit.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you. Yeah. Yes. Okay, Val, hold on.
We've also had late fees applied to our account multiple times. Some months it's charged, some months it isn't. They are only supposed to charge you that late fee the one time you were quote unquote late or withholding rent or whatever. If they continue to charge it because you're continuing not to pay it, that's not allowed. But also most of the time, and again, I'm not a lawyer, but from my understanding, most of the time, once you get to the housing court stage, they're going to throw out the late fees. Like, and again, you cannot get evicted for late fees.
Okay, Rachel's. Nice. So Rachel has contacted her old lawyer. Okay, yes. Sure. Okay. Mm-hmm. Yes. Yes. So, yes. So the question was, she missed the window last fall and or summer and fall, and she did her own building wide rent reduction, which you can do. And you have the docket number. You just keep checking at this website, your docket number. Okay. And see what stage it's in. If it says, I think it says, or like the inspector to come out, or the inspector is out or has been out and he's got to write up a report or something. We don't know exactly. The HCR is not very transparent about what each one of these steps means.
Building wide, so yours is separate. So you're right. So it's gonna be like the same process kind of as the building wide is going. So yeah, because yours may be different than what we submitted into the building wide one.
Yes. Yes. Sure. Yeah, I would be happy to. I'm also in 6:30. So after the meeting, come up and let's exchange contact information and we'll look at what you have. When you submitted it, you submitted. Oh, yeah. Okay. Got it. So yeah, we'll talk and we'll help you. Okay. So it is called, you're going to have to read this.
Oh, gosh. Just kidding about it. Okay, the form is called Tenant Affirmation of Noncompliance. And you put in like the docket number. It has to be filed at least 30 days after the noncompliance of the order, but you file it's free. Yeah, and it's literally on DHCR. So I've already filed mine, of course. So yeah, absolutely.
Will you keep us updated on how that went? Yes. Listen. Yes. We would love to have you as like one of our MCs, guest MCs. Okay. All right. So yeah, and you know, again, it's confusing and it's okay. Even if I've gone over something tonight and you have the same question again, it's fine. It's fine. You just ask me. Okay, the other actions 2 and 3, they kind of go together. Do you guys remember, we're doing this with Palante, and they came out and they talked to us and they suggested that we fill out a checklist. Do you guys remember the checklist and the authorization form? I have one here. I'm going to show it, show and tell, because I think it's just easier. And I have a few tonight if you need to fill them out. This is a checklist, and you go through your apartment in each room and you say what needs to be fixed, what hasn't been fixed, blah, 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 blah. And what they did is they did a mass submission to HPD. And let me back up, HPD, not the state. Now we're moving over to the city, okay? So they basically 311. They submitted this to the city, 311, all of these with your authorization here. Okay, you got to fill out both things. And you probably have been those that you have done it, you probably have been getting either an email or a text message from HPD saying, we got your issue and here's your SR number. SR stands for service request number, okay? And what they're going to do, and again, all of this is in that detailed list. HPD has a new system. Whenever you do, whether you did it with this checklist thing and Palante or not, or HPD period, if you call into 311 or you do it online, what they are going to do is they're going to call you from an auto call thing, right? And in that form that I gave you the number. Put it in your phone and list it as HPD, like auto answer thing. Answer it. Because what happens is if you don't answer it after like 3 times, they close out your issue. Okay. All they're going to do is when you answer it, you're not going to talk to anybody. They're going to say, hi, we've contacted your landlord about this issue. We want to know if they fixed it. Yes. Push 1 for yes, push 2 for no. And that's it. And then they may contact you again to maybe set up an appointment to come and see your issue. This, by the way, let me go back to this is for internal, just your own, inside your own apartment. It has nothing to do with common areas, okay? So when we did that, so have you guys been getting, the ones that filled out the checklist, have you been getting calls from HPD or 311 or? Okay. Okay. Uh-huh. Okay. Rachel is getting, she's getting action. That's good. Good to hear. So two is kind of linked to three. What Palante did, and full disclosure, we had a little confusion. We were a little unaware at first that they were doing this, but they also, based on your internal issues, not common areas, they submitted a building-wide rent reduction for each one of you that filled out one of these lists right here, okay? So the landlord has been notified. So this is above and beyond the one, if you did the first one, this is above and beyond for your internal issues, okay? So it's just layering upon layering upon layering. And I will tell you this, we got an email from Palante. She's laughing. You want to say what it said? Okay. So we definitely have their attention. Yeah, Fairstead's, because Fairstead sent Palante a legal letter from Rose and Rose saying that it's unfair because there's been so many complaints in a short period of time, and they weren't notified in advance of a lot of these issues. We did write a response back saying that's not true. And it's quite detailed. We're going to give you more information in the future, but we are pushing back. Actually, it's a copy of a letter to the state that they sent to Palante. They're asking the state to grant them a 60-day extension until the 1st of August to do all the fixes. Now, I will say the goal here is to get the fixes done, right? I mean, that's the ultimate goal. So I want to reiterate, us as a group, we want you to cooperate with Fairstead and with the 311 if they have to come in and see and validate that things have to be fixed, all right? We're not saying hold it aside or anything like that. Yeah, Pam has a question. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. 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 Unfortunately, I think so.
Broken, which means it's not fixed. Sorry. So you want to make sure that you're taking.
I'm able to hear you.
So I'm in 11
A. They're updating apartment 12A. My water in my bathtub has been blacked up with 11A and 11B around the corner. Why? Because the pipes in this building are old. The electrical is old. The elevators are ancient. So I mean, we thank God for the progress, but I just want to have some sort of underbelly, so to speak. What are we going to do when we are all fixed and then 3 weeks later, something is broken? How do we combat that ahead of them saying that it's done?
So the way that okay, two things. 311 complaint, you could always put another one in and right. The building wide, I get you, like having to go through this process again and waiting months. I totally hear that. The good or bad news of this, a building wide rent reduction, if they fixed it here in November, let's say, 3 weeks later it broke, you're still waiting to hear about the rent reduction, but the inspector came out and claims that your pipes are fine or whatever it is that you're talking about, that's when we're going to appeal it. There's an appeal process. Okay. It's a pain in the proverbial, you know what? It's kind of something. And let's kind of go back to what Dom said. Be aware of who we're electing. Local elections matter. We have to get the attention of our local leaders that HPD, and they got to listen to the tenants. And it's supposed to, the system is made for it to be hard. You're right. Val's right. And it's a pain. It's a pain. But we need to hold, we need to make sure that who we're electing is on our side. That's all I'm going to say. As an organization, we cannot endorse anybody because of our status, but just you do your due diligence and look and see what they're for. But you make really good points, Pam. You make really good points. So that is that's kind of the crux of the 3 actions that we're doing. Again, I'm going to send what you basically have in this handout here in the email. Make sure you're on our email if you're not. And if there's any questions, you have our email address and just write to us, and we may not have the answers right away, but we'll figure it out together. Okay. And so that's kind of the action portion of this. Does anybody have questions about any of the actions for right now? Nothing? Okay. Yes. Oh, I'm sorry.
So the question is, if they end up fixing, right? So she didn't submit the as part of the first building wide rent reduction. So if whatever issues are broken happen to be fixed because the inspector's coming as a result of the first filing that was submitted, could you still benefit from the first building wide rent reduction? Am I saying it correctly? Okay, so no, because you actually have to have like your own like claim in there. So if the stuff is repaired before you actually submit yours, then you don't have a claim basically. So the name is tricky. It's not, so it's building wide, but for it to be building wide and you to be included, you actually have to submit. So it's not just like a couple of us go down and file a building wide rent reduction and everybody benefits from it. Everybody, if you basically want to be in it, you have to complete the paperwork. Okay. Yeah. But if you have not done the paperwork for Palante, do that, right? Because that's the one they initially are filing with HPD, but they also filed a separate building wide rent reduction for anybody who had completed the apartment checklist. So do that if you haven't already done that. Just as a reminder, we're seeing a lot of posts on Facebook about things about water, no hot water, no water pressure. All those things are great, and it helps to share that in within our community. But it's super important that we're reporting it to 311. We have to, and I know it seems like you report it and nothing happens, but keep reporting it. We want it to be on record. It's super important that we have it on record. So just if any issues, water, whatever else, keep reporting it to 311.
I'm just going to add to that. When you report, if you happen to write, there's a tenant in the complex here that has been very good. We see the emails on the back end, right? And we have a specific email address if you have issues within your apartment, within the complex. It's savoyissues@gmail.com. Always copy us on it, okay? Because especially we were just told by our legal group in this appeal. Thank you. Oh my God, it's gonna, yes. What's it called?
Public application of review.
Nice. See, thank you. If we have to go back and say, yes, we reported this to you on this date, we can help find that, but keep your own records. But keep good records, because we were told at 6:30 they say that like the elevators are perfect. Yeah, I've gotten stuck twice in it. So no, they're not, and they don't land quite right. But it's probably the day that the inspector came. Maybe everything was working well. So we're going to appeal, right? So we're appealing. So that's one thing we're appealing. Yeah. Oh. It's internal or okay. So I will say this: NIMIC, who represented 620 and 2300, they did kind of a dual thing. They did grounds and they also did internal to everybody's internal apartment, kind of what Palante, I think, is doing. So that's interesting. I would reach out to your legal team because I don't really. Yeah. So she's gonna reach out to her legal team. Does somebody else have a question? Yes. Hi, Cal. Yes, we do have two, and it's better. I did take it off this particular, but if you look at any of our old, the issues one, if you look at any of our old agendas, it has both emails. The other one is Savoy Tenant Communications, which is kind of our general one if you have questions. But the issues one is kind of dedicated for those. Yeah. But it's okay if you accidentally send it to the regular one. It's not. I glad to announce the fun. Oh, wait. Oh,
just so I can be clear, it's an issue of where it's right under your window. It's really something that we
okay.
need to report.
Okay. There's a tenant that has, we're going to help her file a complaint about, it looks like some garbage right outside your window or container. Yeah, we're going to help you afterwards. So yeah, we're going to have, I think, one more meeting before we take a break, but in that break, I'm going to turn it over to our fearless leader.
All right, so in that break is going to be our summer social. Last year we had it in August, which was the third week of August, so I think we're gonna do it again. Last year we had balloons for the kids, water guns for the kids, and Met Council brought us sandwiches. So this year, I think we're gonna go back to the year one and have a barbecue again. Now, we've been doing very good at keeping it nice and tight and clean, but for some reason, I think this year we might have a little issue. And it's not with us, it's with management, of course. But we're gonna do it again. And we're gonna have fun. So this year I am actually, anyone who can, the donation for the summer social is $25 or whatever you can provide. That is just so that we can have enough funds to cover everything and everyone who shows up. And everyone is welcome. All right. So we'll see you in August. Right now it's cash, but if you come to me and all you have is Venmo or whatever, I'll still write your receipt, none of this, because the money's going to the same place. All right. The third weekend. Yes, I already put it in my calendar. It's the 20. No, it's the third. We had it on the third last year.
So that would
The 23rd. I'm sorry, the fourth weekend. I'm sorry, the fourth weekend, because it starts early. So the second is the first Saturday. So we're gonna do the fourth Saturday, which is the 23rd. August 23rd is the date. Okay, August 23rd is the date. Time is to be determined. But you're always welcome to help, come out and set up. I always appreciate that. So we need people to either donate food, donate your, nice funds, or you can actually come out and help set up. No, we're gonna have it in our courtyard right behind us where we've been having it for the last 2 years. And the good part is there is no scaffolding there, and it does have some shade. So if it is a nice hot sunny day, we'll still have the shade, and we're gonna barbecue in the parking lot. Yeah. The office staff. Fired the office staff. Fired the entire office staff again, according to Savoy. That's what we're gonna.
How y'all doing? I went to go pay rent the 3rd. They had new staff. So they said the lady at the desk said they all got fired.
No. So the news is that the office staff, we have a turnover, so they have new staff and manage.
I don't know how relevant this list is, but if you have any new updates, email our general email address and we'll try to keep it as current.
Email, I promise you, they are going to be sick of seeing emails. If you include, especially Jeffrey Goldberg, he is the chief executive officer. Add look, I send all of these people email, okay? All right.
Be sure to include the Savoy Tenant Union.
So we're kind of aware of what's going on. Yeah.
The microphone, you need to pretend you're Celine Dion and hold it up to your mouth.
Hey, listen, there's always a critic, okay? I don't have her pipes. What can I tell you? Yeah, okay. Yeah, because I use but thank you. I'm so happy people joined online. Sorry for the lateness. We have a little bit of technical issues as we kind of do usually. It's just the internet connection. What are we gonna do? But if that's it, oh. No. Oh, really? They did it when a 620 did it. Okay. Yeah, and look, and again, on here is the link and your docket number is on there if you're part of it. 2300's docket number, I'm sorry, it's up here. 2300's docket number is right there, MS 41000010B. But there seems to be two associated with it. I'm not sure what that is. I would highly suggest if there's any questions on your docket number and what's going on, reach out to NIMIC and your contact at NIMIC if that's your legal team. Okay.